YouTube channel. And Skylar, you are on.
Yeah, so hey there, GAE-Retired and everybody else that has decided to join. As she said, I am Skylar Nunley. I am the, I guess I can't say new anymore, UNICEF director that is in charge of the Aspiring Educators, which was formerly known as a student program, as well as higher ed organizing, early career educators, so those 0 to 5 years, and then a few other roles here and there, just other duties as assigned. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. So I'm going to be talking to you all today, just kind of introducing myself. I will be giving some feedback about the Aspiring Educators program and then talking about social media and just some of the different platforms, the organizing potential, the demographics, yada, 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 blase, blase. And Miss Freeman is in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share this. If at any time you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Or do anything. You can even just yell out at me. It'll be a fun time. I love direct feedback, so that's good. But can everybody see my presentation? Has it loaded properly for y'all? Thumbs up. Okay, y'all are quiet. It's going to be real awkward when I start going through jokes then. If cameras are off and audio is muted, but I'm just going to trust that y'all are laughing. So I'm going to start off by introducing myself. And we're going to take it way back to the year that some of you may remember. It is 1995. There's a new kid on the block. All of the stars and planets aligned, and a new baby graced the face of the earth. And that was me. There's me, my little baby self. Very cute. My head was actually the same size that it is today whenever I was born. It's huge. But I'm just kidding. That's just a joke, y'all. You can laugh. So I did not always have a clear path into teaching. I actually had a few side jobs before I realized education was what I wanted to go into. I started off, of course, as a model for the Ken doll that you see with Barbie. That was made in my likeness, particularly the muscle tone. I was a firefighter for a year and a half. Only one of those was true. I was a backup singer for Charles Entertainment Cheese, better known as Chuck E. Cheese. And I was also a bit of a wild child and a little bit of a rule breaker, as you'll see here. Pretty wild, which kind of got into the organizing aspect. But whenever I was going through college, I didn't particularly know what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to assist people, and I actually wanted to go into the field of counseling. Mental health is something that really plagued Western Kentucky, where I was from. It affected several of my family members, several of my friends, and I wanted to kind of give back to that community. But as I went through the program, I discovered that the vast majority of people that needed mental health services, particularly in rural Kentucky, did not get access to them. So I was kind of upset with that realization. I happened to get a job at an elementary school doing the camp, and I fell in love with teaching. I figured out I could do all of those things that I wanted to do in the classroom without having to have some special office or title. I was still able to help students through problems that I had and even ones that I didn't. And once I got involved in college, I got heavily involved in KEA, which is the Kentucky State affiliate. I was a local chapter president, as you can see there, smiling with my executive board, rose up to be state president of the Aspiring Educators chapter, and then became a KEA executive board member, as well as an NEA board of director member. So I did that. I continued my teaching career for about 4 years, and then I saw that there was a position working with aspiring educators, and I never really saw myself going into the staff side. However, I absolutely love the Aspiring Educators program. It got me involved in the union. It showed me the potential and the power that advocacy has, and it's something that I truly believe in, and I really hope to kind of keep the momentum going with the aspiring educators. I know several of you all got to meet them at the representative assembly, and they're really passionate and they're really wanting to get involved. So speaking of the aspiring educators, here is our crew from the representative assembly. Don't worry, I don't expect you all to read all of that stuff, but what is the AE program? So it was formerly known as a student program. It is accessible to anybody that is in a college in the state of Georgia that is on track to be an educator. So it's those pre-service teachers, usually freshmen through senior. One thing that I do want to clarify is for those MAT students, those master students, if you are currently teaching in a school or if you have an ESP position, then you actually need to have that membership as opposed to the aspiring ed. You have to go to your highest membership value. But what are some things that are new about the AE program since last year? Now we have new state and local officers that are established. So we have some chapters that have formed that were previously not there. We have a state executive committee and advocacy group for the aspiring ed to kind of advocate and represent themselves within the association. We've formed 15 chapters. Oh, I think somebody might have had a question.
Oh, you probably missed a couple of them. You probably missed a couple of them.
Okay, guess not. So the in-person conferences have returned, that will be returning this year, and our state dues are actually covered through the foundation and a few other things as an effort to kind of promote the program. I know Paige has really been undercutting us by making it a few dollars cheaper. So we kind of flipped the buck around in that regard to get more awareness for this upcoming year. And it's been extremely successful. We've gotten a really big influx of student members, even through the early enrollment program. So it's been very exciting. So how can you all assist? Number one, in a way that we'll be talking about, and that is, of course, promoting it any way you can. Sharing things on social media, talking about it to your friends, colleagues, and families at universities. And then you all are still active. You all are still involved in education. I know that you might know people that are at colleges. You might be familiar with teachers that are adjuncts. I have a list of all the colleges that we have established chapters at, so you can kind of see that list. If you see or know of a college or university that you might have a contact with that is not on this list, please, please, please reach out to me and let me know. And of course, at the end of this presentation, I will give you my contact information. So that's Clark Atlanta, Georgia Southern, Fort Valley, Dalton State, Georgia Gwinnett, Atlanta Metro, Savannah State, Spelman, Kennesaw, Georgia College, Clayton State, UGA, Georgia Southern, Armstrong, Thomas University, and Atlanta Mercer. So before I move on to our social media piece, I know that I have probably went through this at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Does anybody have any questions for me or about the Aspiring Educator Program?
Hi,
Hello,
yeah.
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Tama Freeman and I live in Lawrence County. And I
Okay.
see that Middle Georgia State University is not on your list. Is that one that could possibly, and as well as Georgia College, Georgia Military College, I'm sorry.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, so my goal, of course, and I guess I might have missed that part. My goal, of course, is to establish a chapter at every university in Georgia to truly make it so that our state leaders are representative of the students that are in colleges of education in Georgia. So if you have any kind of connections at Middle Georgia or at Georgia Military College, I would love to reach out. And I start off every year, just like I have this year, reaching out to every single college. I call, I email, and these are the ones that have been receptive and kind of starting up programs with me. But if you have anybody, then please put me into contact with them and I would be more than happy to do that.
Okay, I certainly will. Thank you.
Yes, and Ms. Simons, that would be greatly appreciated because Albany State is something that I have been trying to work with for a little bit. And I keep reaching out, and then I'll get a response and then it'll fall through. I think somebody else might have had something, perhaps, maybe.
My question is there a separate, you're probably going to laugh at me, like Facebook page for
Okay.
aspiring educators?
There is a separate Facebook page. We have focused mostly on Instagram for our aspiring educators just because our Facebook page struggled to get the immediate traction, but we have linked them together and we are still promoting both of them. So there's a Facebook page, there's an Instagram page, and we recently just kind of turned that over to our state leaders so that they can start promoting that within their college circles as well. And I will share that later on in the slides, but that is a good question. And for you all, if you have anything, I can go ahead and put my contact information in here. That way, while I'm rambling on and going on, if you have anything that you would like to share, and you can send that to me. So now that we've kind of established this,
Skylar,
yes, ma'am.
this is Doris Glover. Can you give me the status of Albany State? You mentioned it, but I don't see it on the list.
Yeah, so I have reached out to them, and a couple of times I've gotten a hold of somebody, and then I try and schedule a meeting, or I try and come to the campus, and it just kind of falls through, where they don't reach back out, or there's some kind of lapse. The most recent one was I was going to meet with them at the GAE conference, and I met with their representative that they sent there. I kind of talked to them about getting something established, and they were really excited, and then I never heard back. And I tried calling and emailing, and I just didn't get feedback from them.
Okay, well, I have a contact there, so I'll get with you.
Yeah, and that would be great. And please, you all do not take me saying that as like an insult or a jab to any of the
Oh, no.
universities.
Oh,
I
no,
know
no.
that they are very busy and do not know me, so I get it. But
Yes.
Skylar, what about Valdosta State? Have we?
Valdosta State, I have been emailing back and forth, and I've got a virtual meeting scheduled, I believe, kind of middle of this month. But if you have any additional contacts, you know, I'll take any help I can get. I am.
Well, let me tell you one.
Let me
tell you one thing we ran into. We were doing NTO in Savannah Chatham, and one of the young ladies said that she was aspiring, it was about to be her first year, and she was with Paige. And so we were talking, we did get her signed up with GAE, but Paige at Valdosta State is paying Paige dues for their first year teaching.
Gotcha.
Did you know that? So
I did not know that they were doing that. I knew that they did like a half of 50% off dues or something like that for anybody that was a Paige member going through college, but I did not know that Valdosta State was covering their entire group. Do they just have a small group? Is that how they're doing that, or?
I don't know. That's why I wanted to mention it to you, because I heard that from there. I was able to talk her into, joining GAE. Just, told the differences, things like that. But that needs to be on our radar, because that is happening, whether we need to do something or anything like that. But I want to put it on your radar before you went into that meeting.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, and that is one thing that I'm kind of doing to combat that. I'm actually having a plenary session Friday to kind of not restart game, but do a similar group, because I can't really make it for millennial educators if it's new teachers, because most of our new teachers are not millennials. But basically restarting the early career educator program in the state of Georgia. So yeah, I think that will help, just having that visibility and that access to them. But I can talk with you later on that.
And Skylar, Melissa Williams put in the chat about her new position at the College of Coastal Georgia. So
Melissa Williams sounds a lot like a potential advisor to me. So
exactly.
And I would love to include you on that. One thing that I've negotiated with Craig and Lisa is that for any higher ed member, because we are trying to recruit more higher ed members, and we've gotten more than we've ever had at this moment, we are actually agreeing that if they sign on to be an advisor with us, I kind of go through an MOA, I show them what is expected, and then we will cover their higher ed dues for them, because the advisor role is, we do ask people to do things and get quite a bit done. So that is something that we have been promoting. So I will definitely get everybody's contact from this. Melissa says that would be great. I think you would be great, Melissa, so we'll make it happen. But all right, now to move into the fun part. Everybody came to see, and that is our social media. So as I was talking to Karen, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of social media sites, all with different purposes, different populations. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing on these more popular ones. So I'm going to be going over, of course, what they are, what makes them unique, because every social media platform has its own special little niche, and then also going over the demographics and what the organizing potential is, how we can use it, not just for personal benefit, but how we can use it to promote GAE. So just kind of looking at this list right here, these are the 10 most popular social media sites in the United States. Does anybody see anything that they do not recognize on this list? We've got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter, WhatsApp, TikTok, Reddit, and Nextdoor. Any new names for anybody?
Reddit.
Reddit. Reddit is the front page of the internet. That is their fun slogan. It's something I actually use quite a bit. And we will be talking about Reddit for sure.
What is next door?
So Nextdoor, what is Nextdoor? I'm not sure. You'd have to give me your address. But no, I'm so sorry. You gave me that one.
Bad.
No, but Nextdoor is a local community app. So basically imagine Facebook, but what it does is it immediately connects you with people that are in your geographic area. So people that are within like 5 or 10 miles, and it really promotes, well, depending on what you set it to, it promotes adding people in that area, like a specialized marketplace where on Facebook you can sell things. Nextdoor, it is showing you things that people are doing around you, local businesses, things like that, which actually they got so popular that they caused Facebook to create their Facebook neighborhood and Facebook community part, because Facebook is big enough now that if anybody competes with them, they pretty much just take the idea and buy them out. But that is Nextdoor. Nextdoor is an interesting one. It's not one that I personally use, but I know that some people, especially more urban areas or metropolitan areas, do use it. So we're going to be diving into just about all of these. I'm going to skip over WhatsApp. It's just a talking app. I'm going to be skipping over that, but we're definitely going to hit all of these other ones. So starting off, one question that I had somebody ask me whenever we were talking about social media, using it to promote ideas, and that was, is emailing still effective? And this may surprise some people, but yes, it absolutely is still effective. And I'll kind of talk about why. So you can kind of see that statistic. A new study says that 77% of workers prefer emailing over messaging or anything else. And that is amongst every single age group. And I don't know if that is surprising to anybody in here. It was a little bit surprising to me. And then I really started thinking about, well, why do people use social media? And that's kind of where this comes from. Why do people use messaging apps? It is so that they can express themselves, so that they can find community, so that they can learn. It's really not so that they can get work done. It's really not so they can get recruited into something more times than not. Kind of like whenever you all get off work, you know, it's like getting a call from work. You go on social media, oh, now they're reaching out to me again on that. It's like you can never get away from them. So people do actually prefer using that email because it's a place for them to keep work and life separate. However, we'll talk about some strategies on ways that you can be respectful of that boundary, but still promote your ideas and engagement on social media. So that was a fun little statistic. This is a quick breakdown. I'm mostly having this in there if you want to take a screenshot or if there's something you want to look at, because this is a lot of information for one slide, but we'll just kind of glaze over it because these are the ones I'm going to be focusing on. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Snapchat. And I think one thing that's really important to focus on is the people and the content. So for Facebook, we see mostly 25 to 34, and of course, those baby boomers are going to be on this app. And most of you all, I'm sure, are familiar with Facebook. It is kind of like a person identification system at this point. You can look up people that you know specifically, people that are friends with others that you know, share photos, links, information, things like that. Instagram tends to run a little bit younger, tends to be those teens and those millennials, where as opposed to actual content and substance, it tends to be more digital blogging, journaling, self-promotion, things like that. Twitter, 25 to 49, or excuse me, 25 to 34, 35 to 49. So a pretty big range for Twitter, and we will talk about why that is. This tends to be more anonymous versions of Facebook, you could call it, that are condensed into smaller posts. LinkedIn, of course, is no surprise, is mostly for your professionals, and this is going to be business to business networking, and that is the focus. And then we have TikTok and Snapchat, popular amongst the kids, the teens, and really focused heavily on entertainment and communication between them. So what we're going to do, if you all see anything that really speaks out to you or you're not sure about on this list, feel free. I'll give you a minute to look over it, and I will answer any questions. And then we're going to kind of take a deep dive into each of them as opposed to just looking at them as a whole. And I think one other interesting thing is that it tends to be a Democratic leaning game if you're talking about social media, particularly with Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn. Really all of them are heavy Democratic, except for Facebook is a pretty even split. So anybody see anything that really stands out to them, anything that surprises them, any questions before we move on to the deep dive for each of those individual social media platforms?
Skylar, this is Debbie. Just
Yes,
a quick question. Ever since our past president was kicked off of Twitter, he started his own social media.
yes,
Is it because it's a private social media that we can't get stats on that, or are they just not out, or what? Would you have any direction on it?
So the reason these are on there because they are the most popular. I mean, I'm sure that we could make some pretty good guesses on the demographics that are on Parler and sites like that. I did tend to stay away in this presentation from some of those social media sites. One, because I'm not as familiar, and two, they really are just kind of, well, I feel like I'm getting into my own opinion here. They tend to be a little bit more unsourced, unchecked, and kind of random echo chamber cesspools, whatever you want to call them. But anyways, yes, so there's not as many stats on those, and it's really hard to compare them just because they are so niche, and there's so many social media sites. But that is a good question. And if anybody on here has used them, feel free to let me know of your experience for the sake of research. All right. Very cool. Very cool. So we are going to go ahead and switch over. Starting off with Facebook. I imagine most of you all are pretty familiar with Facebook. It's the biggest social media platform worldwide, and it's pretty versatile, as it says. However, the best uses of it tend to be these three things: local marketing, advertising, and community and relationship building. So community and relationship building, Facebook is not something that would be described as an Cavius disagrees with me on Facebook. Shaking his head no. I'm just kidding. So Facebook is not something that is an organic reaching social media. And what that means is you're not organically pushed to things that you are interested in. Instead, it more tends to be people specifically that you know personally. People don't tend to go on Facebook looking to find bigger communities or anything like that, at least compared to other social media sites. This is mostly about getting with people that you know, friends of friends, and just kind of talking about things, building relationships, keeping up with family members, keeping up with businesses. However, advertising is extremely effective on Facebook. You can advertise for just about anything, and what Facebook does, it has special algorithms so that you will kind of access their search history. So say maybe Gloria was really talking about going camping up in North Georgia, talking about it a lot, doing a lot of Google searches and stuff like that for it. So then naturally on Facebook, they're going to start generating ads that have to do with camping, have to do with hiking, have to do with equipment. The Facebook algorithms for advertisements are very, very, very effective. And you might be wondering, well, why am I talking about this? They're also very cheap to do. Really, all it takes is if you make some kind of flyer, if you have some kind of link and you have a few dollars, you can go on Facebook like we have with GAE events, and you can promote those events. So then people that are on Facebook that have Google search histories of teachers, of lessons, of education laws will naturally start seeing those ads popping up on them. So be careful what you're talking about, because Facebook is always listening and always trying to get you to spend some money and time on their ads. And then of course, local marketing. If you have a group like the GAE, or even just local restaurants, local businesses, they tend to have Facebook pages. You can find out their hours, their location, you can contact them. And this is a very big part of Facebook, where you're actually able to interact with those businesses and those chains. So as you all know, the types of posts, images, videos, live streams, links, all that's pretty obvious to you all, I'd imagine. But let's talk about some of the organizing potential. Facebook has a function that you all, I'm sure, are aware of, and that is the share function. That is something that is very, very, very strong if you're trying to do awareness campaigns, group promotions. And it may not seem like a lot to just share a post, but it does two things. One, it shows your Facebook friends, who tend to be a little bit like-minded with you all, that something is going on, something that they may be interested in. But also, the more likes, the more comments, and the more shares a post gets, the more likely it is to pop up for other people who might not normally see it. So whenever you're seeing things on GAE's website, if you can like them, if you can comment them, if you can share them, what that does, it doesn't just spread the voice and spread the message out to your friends, but it makes it more likely that it's going to be put in as an advertisement for somebody else that would not see it otherwise. So that's how our Facebook algorithms work. If you comment on things, even if it's something short, you just go in and you say, "Good job, GAE," on everything they do. That makes GAE more likely to pop up on people's feeds, even if they aren't following GAE. Sharing that post makes it way more likely for that to happen. So it's a really good organizing tool for letting people know of opportunities that's going on. And it's a much more personal approach than just an email. Then we have our Facebook groups. Has anybody in here used or joined a Facebook group? Debbie has, I know some of us have. They're actually really effective. You can store files on there. You can make a shared group calendar. You can make, obviously, posts about things that you all are doing. You can do polls. It's a really, really useful tool for managing information with people that you might not know personally, but that have similar interests as you. It's really, oh, and GAE-Retired also has a Facebook page. So if you have not liked them, make sure you like that page, like, comment, and share everything that they post, because all that does is expand the message. So before I move off Facebook, I'm sure that you all are mostly familiar with Facebook, but does anybody have any questions? All righty. Moving on to Instagram. So Instagram is quite a bit different in the way that it is structured than Facebook. Instead of long posts with text, it is solely images and videos, a lot less peer-to-peer interaction. So Instagram is really good for, self-promotion. You want to put yourself out there, put up pictures of what you're doing. It's kind of like setting up a virtual visual journal or diary or log of what you've been doing. And that's kind of the purpose of Instagram. A lot of people, particularly 18 to 34, with a quick emphasis on millennials, prefer Instagram because they feel it's less text, it's less opinion, it's less divisiveness. It's truly just, here is what I'm doing. Here's what I've been up to. And then, of course, you can comment and things like that. So it's become really popular with those groups. And other things that have been successful because of the way this is e-commerce. 60% of posts in Instagram are somebody or some business trying to sell something. And it is extremely, extremely effective. Instagram has the best sell rate of any social media site. So whenever people are trying to promote their business, trying to sell items or goods, Instagram is an extremely effective way of doing that. Organic engagement on Instagram is huge, because what Instagram does, unlike Facebook, it doesn't just show you friends of friends. It pays attention to what you like. So maybe Cavius is liking a lot of dog pictures. So he's going to start seeing accounts that he doesn't follow that are posting similar things about dogs, because it doesn't just track what you're looking at, it tracks what you're liking, and it tracks your interests. So you are being shown things that you are interested in instead of just people that you may know. So that's what that organic engagement piece comes in. And that's really effective for us. the more we post as GAE, and I'll kind of get into our pages there. We post about teacher things, we post about teacher laws, post about teacher supports. Then people that are on Instagram that are liking other teacher accounts, that are liking other school district pages, will start getting suggestions and say, hey, you should check out GAE. Sometimes our pictures will start showing up. And just like on Facebook, the more likes and comments you get on Instagram, the more likely someone is to see your post. So I think you all are probably starting to see a trend here. If your post has likes and comments, then the algorithm makes it more likely for more people to see your post. So it's a big, big spiral. So the best thing you can do to support GAE, of course, is to go on there to share, like, and comment, even if it's something very minor, like, good job, this is great. It doesn't matter how long your comment is, it's just about having a comment. So, any questions about Instagram? Anybody here on Instagram? Okay, well, that is okay. It is definitely different in Facebook in the sense that it is a little bit more pointed in what you're looking for. You're able to see things outside of your usual hemisphere of interaction, and you're actually able to be put in touch with people that you're more likely to agree with, more likely to want to support. So for organizing tools, this is really effective if you're trying to promote an event. Anytime GAE has an event, we put it up on the Instagram, because the type of people that are going to see these events being advertised are people that are already liking similar events. So it's super effective at promoting events, really effective at building a brand, and really effective about getting people, giving targeted communication. So finding people that are already interested in you, as opposed to just kind of having to hope for the best like you do with Facebook sometimes. So that is the difference for Instagram. Any questions? Awesome, awesome. Now we're going to start getting into some of the unknown for some of us. We're getting a little bit farther away from the popular ones. Twitter is still pretty well known. The emphasis on Twitter is expressing ideas, representing brands in short bits. Follow the thoughts and ideas and actions of celebrities, groups, and businesses. And here's why I put that in there. Celebrities, influencers, businesses, large groups like GAE, those tend to be what dominates Twitter. Personal accounts are a lot less personal. They don't tend to be associated with the person. Most people actually have accounts that are not fake accounts, of course, but they're based on their interest. For example, I had a Twitter account and it was solely just to keep up with soccer news. So it was probably just some soccer player and a picture, and that's extremely common. You're not going to be having these personal accounts that are just first name, last name, like you will with Instagram and Facebook. They're going to be accounts that are made solely for the purpose of consuming that media or getting into that group. So Twitter is really effective for a few things that Facebook and Instagram might not be as effective at. Number one is direct engagement with individuals and other entities. People comment all the time whenever a big business, whenever a large group, whenever a politician says something, and it's extremely effective, and probably the most likely you are to actually get a response from a large business, to get a response from a celebrity or politicians, because they really do monitor that. And they try and make sure that they give feedback as quickly as they can, because Twitter is very effective for building momentum for movements. Like I said, they don't have profiles associated with their name. People usually have profiles that are with their interests. So if we're talking about GAE, we might not have Karen Solheim following and commenting, but we have enthusiastic teacher 435 that is commenting on every single post, that is sharing every single bit of information, and news spreads extremely quick on Twitter. So Twitter is great for engaging with high profile individuals and with businesses and groups. Another thing it's very good at is virtual community building. There you'll hear things like teacher Twitter, soccer Twitter, video game Twitter. Twitter isn't so vague in the sense that you see a little bit of everything. When you sign up, you actually click on what your interests are. And then it really focuses heavily on those interests and places you into different communities focused around that. So Twitter is actually a really common way and the most common social media site that people go to for news, for updates on current events, for updates on events. So that is an extremely good way for us to not just stay relevant and stay current, but to keep people in the loop with education business. As soon as there is a law that passes in the state house or the Senate, there are thousands of tweets going out explaining the importance of this. And that's why it's so important that teachers, that people that actually know what's going on with these things, that GAE has a presence on that, so that we can kind of mitigate that, so that we can make sure that the right opinions and things are being spread, the people that are actually informed on the topic. So Twitter is definitely the best for keeping up with news, keeping up with current events and information, and then building very specific communities. Any Twitter questions? I see the chat is blowing up. GAE-Retired has a Twitter account. Twitter, if you are not interested in that, I would highly recommend checking it out. It's a great way to just, like I said, find current information, current ideas, current events going on with very specific topics. Chat is going crazy. All right. Moving on, we're getting a little bit farther away. LinkedIn. This is one I will not spend quite as much time on because it's not something that is super beneficial to a group unless you're trying to hire someone, I guess, but I will explain. So LinkedIn is a professional and business networking social media site. It is for businesses, for potential hires, and for specific employers. Basically, you go on, your profile is more of a CV or a resume, and people can kind of see your experience, see your qualifications, see your actions, and also see what you're seeking. So it's really great if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for people to join your group, but it's not so much social media in the sense of, here, I've got this event going on, or hey, here's what I'm thinking about things. This is mostly just for professional networking. So the types of posts you'll see on there will be photos maybe of a job opening, videos, polls, and then a lot of articles. So you'll see here the largest group is 46 to 55. That's because most people that are on here are business influencers, CEOs, heads of companies that are spreading information and basically trying to recruit individuals or find themselves a new position. So that is not one that we're going to do a whole lot of organizing on, but it is useful in the sense that you can meet up with other teachers and you can kind of see their credentials, see what kind of things they're doing. Maybe you're trying to recruit in your district. It's a good way to do it. So now we're on to the fun new ones. TikTok. Can anybody just give me an emoji in the chat or raise their hand if they have ever been on TikTok? Karen Solheim has. That's fun. So TikTok is a very quick, immediate gratification website. It is solely videos and clips. It's really similar to Vine, if anybody has ever heard of that. That was kind of the precursor to that. But what it is very much so focused on entertainment, on trends, and on viral posts. Okay, so we've got a couple people on there. When it comes to TikTok, they are nothing but short clips, like I said, usually entertaining things. And TikTok has a very special algorithm. It keeps track of how long you watch a video. It keeps track of videos that you like and videos that you send. And it just keeps populating you with new videos that are similar. There's no in-between time, no lag time. It's very instant gratification, very quick, and very popular with younger groups and teens because of that. You watch a 5-second video, you decide you don't like it, you swipe up, and there's immediately a new video in its place. If you do like it, you click you like it, you swipe up, and then there's a video more similar to that. So it's a very dynamic and very fast social media app. So the types of posts on there tend to be pretty short, and there's not always tons of substance. It does tend to be entertaining. However, there's a lot of really big social movements that have happened with TikTok. I think the most famous one was one of the Trump rallies, where somebody started a very viral video, a very viral trend, where they shared this idea. They said, hey, I'm going to register online for this event because it's a free event and I'm taking up a seat and then I'm not going to go. You all should do this, and then post a video of you doing it. So they did that. And then thousands of people saw this video. And that's what a viral movement is. That's what a viral video is on TikTok. They do something, they say it's a challenge, it's a trend, and they ask other people to do it. They film themselves doing it, and they get global reach almost within days sometimes. So they cause thousands and thousands and thousands of people to sign up for this rally with no intention of going, just to make sure that nobody actually showed up. And it was very, very effective. So TikTok actually does have very good organizing potential because it's emotional content. It's very personal engagement because it's usually somebody on there talking about a movement, talking about something they're doing. And it's very good at encouraging people to recreate videos, to take. There's somebody cleaning my window right now. They are kind of like Spider-Man going down the side of the wall. That was very distracting. So TikTok actually has a lot of potential if you're trying to do that emotional content. You're trying to get on there and give a testimonial, like getting on there and say, this is what it's like whenever you're teaching in your first year. That was one of the most viral TikToks of last year, where thousands and thousands and thousands of teachers got on with tears in their eyes, talking about the struggles of teaching. And it's something that's relatable. It's something that actually gives a lot of meaning to people. But the downside with TikTok and with all trends is they tend to be a flash in the pan. They get really hot for a second, and then it's on to the next thing within a day. So that is kind of TikTok. What was that? I'm so sorry. Not sure I heard you. So that's TikTok. I would encourage you to be careful if you use it, because the most common complaint is that people get sucked into it because it is just nonstop entertainment, constantly flashing on your screen, sending you notifications, and the algorithm is extremely effective at finding videos that you would like. But it's also good at getting inspiration. So moving on, we have Snapchat. Snapchat has a very bad reputation in some circles, especially in teaching fields, because it is a pseudo-discrete picture messaging app. So what you do, you take a picture really quickly, you send it to somebody with a message, or you edit it, and then after 10 seconds, it is deleted. So it is just a quick way for people to communicate, to send messages, and now they have some functions like Facebook where you can create stories. So Snapchat is mostly just for communication and tends to be focused around younger audiences, teens, and then 25 to 34-year-olds. Just as a quick way, you pick up your phone, take a picture, send it, and of course, it does not stay anywhere. So it's good for quick communication, easy virtual journaling, and location-based marketing. So here is actually something that you all could utilize Snapchat for. When you have events, they are really, really, really trying to push location-based marketing and geo-filters. So what that means is, let's say you are having a conference for a student program conference, for example. You can set that area, and then everyone within that area, whenever they get on Snapchat, they get a special filter, and you swipe over to it, it says GAE conference and gives like a special background and kind of saves it in an online library of pictures. So that's kind of the only real organizing potential for Snapchat, is just kind of getting people on board with sending pictures in and kind of making a digital library of that, documenting what they do. But Snapchatting is almost exclusively for quick, fast communication. Any question? Am I going too fast, too slow?
Could you give an example of when when Snapchat really would be effective for like GAE? I mean, like, I'm always about the permanence and people can go back. And so
Yeah.
I'm a little confused about, well, why would I want it to only last for 10, 15 seconds?
Yeah, so if you send a direct message to somebody on Snapchat, then it does delete after you open it. Or you can still save the picture. You can post it to your story, and all of your followers can see it. So the idea is, if you have an event like a conference, or a lot of concerts will do it, you take a picture, you use that filter, and then it's kind of like a flag saying, hey, I'm here. And then other people that are in that area can then see that picture, and it's just kind of promoting the event, getting some engagement on it, showing people how fun it is and things like that. But as far as an organizing tool, I don't think Snapchat is really the most effective. It really is focused on communication. But it is a fun way to connect with people. Yes, adult, children, and grandkids. I'll be honest, I still use Snapchat. I talk to people all the time. I think it's very fun, but not the most effective organizing tool. Moving on, we have Reddit, the front page of the internet. So Reddit is an anonymous, organized online community for literally any topic or group you can imagine. So Reddit, whenever you have something you want to look up, it is almost more common, especially for people 18-29, myself included. If I had a question, for example, I had a pet leopard gecko that I got last year. I had no idea how to do care for that. So I typed in Reddit leopard geckos, and it takes you to a full anonymous community of thousands and thousands of people across the world that have leopard geckos, talk about their leopard geckos, show pictures of their leopard geckos. And that's what it's for. Just finding anonymous online communities so you can get honest feedback, so you can get advice, and just kind of have that sense of virtual community without the risk of, I don't know, rejection or knowing somebody in there. It's a very interesting group, and it is getting so popular now that, like I said, it's really an effective tool for finding information in a very organized way. Any kind of possible thing you can imagine, there is a Reddit page for it, and there are thousands, if not millions sometimes, of people that are involved in kind of sharing in that community. So it's really good for getting testimonials, for having opinions, images, videos, and things like that, finding information. I know whenever I was teaching, I was a history teacher, a music teacher, and a math teacher. So I would go on r/history, r/music, and find thousands of examples of lesson plans, of ideas, of teachers that have filmed their stuff. And the good thing about Reddit is they usually make it free content. Very rarely will you find something, unless it's an artist trying to sell their material, that you have to pay money for. So it's really effective for just finding a virtual community for anything that you're interested in. However, for organizing, outside of spreading awareness, outside of getting information, because it's a completely anonymous app, you do have profiles, but you're not going to find anybody that does their actual name on there. It's not the best for trying to get people involved in specific things. However, I would highly suggest that you check out Reddit next time. If you have a question, maybe you want to make a real mean potato casserole, you can type in cooking r/cooking and find it. And then we have our next to last, or our last one I'm going to be talking about today, and that is Pinterest. Pinterest is very similar to Reddit. It is just the user interface that is different. So on Pinterest, you have something that is called a Pinterest board, and you sign up, you say what you're interested in, and then tons and tons of individuals that are interested in that will post pictures, post videos, post articles about that topic. So it is very focused on topics, very focused on goods and ideas and services, not focused on opinions, not focused on really interaction. It's mostly about just sharing ideas and building off of each other. And Pinterest is very famous within the teacher community. Pinterest has thousands of free lesson plans, thousands of free borders, Blackboard ideas, really anything that you can imagine. It's just kind of a free sharing website for creative people. It's a pretty evenly spread age distribution, but about 80% female on there, and very, very large educator presence, as I said. So it's a great way to connect with artists, connect with creators, and get that organic engagement, meaning Instead of finding people you may know, you're finding people that are interested in things you're in. You're finding topics that you're interested in. And Melissa loves Pinterest. Pinterest really is a great place to go for ideas and for information. For those of you that use Pinterest, the way that Reddit is different is Reddit is mostly text-based and opinion-based, where Pinterest is more image-based and focused. So those are the two major differences between them. So I know I've went through a whole lot in a fairly short amount of time. I probably sped through it quicker than some would have liked, but I want to be respectful of time and give time for questions. So before I move to our last little section, does anybody have any questions about any of these social media sites that I have mentioned, or perhaps social media sites that they would have liked me to talk about? All righty. I had this as a question that was asked, and what are 3 apps that everyone should have and use? Well, I'm going to break it down because social media is very much so, how do you want to use it? How do you want to benefit from it? Social media has great aspects, has helpful aspects, has personal communication, organizing, and just for getting information is how I've split this up. So for personal communication, I would usually recommend Facebook, of course. You can keep up with family members, keep up with friends, share what's going on in your life, and be a part of theirs, especially if you're not living in the same area. I know I personally use Facebook to keep up with my friends and family from back home, more so my family and from work friends and things. Instagram. If you have not considered using Instagram, Instagram is all of Facebook without most of the drama, I guess you could say. It is mostly just pictures and images of your friends and loved ones and of your specific interest areas. And then, of course, anybody that is in a professional field, I would recommend has a LinkedIn account, because what can happen is not only can you network and find people that have positions for you, but a lot of times they will be actively seeking individuals out on LinkedIn. So it's very common for businesses and opportunities to actually come to you on LinkedIn. And it is becoming almost the preferred network of many corporate employers and other groups. LinkedIn has become the most popular business-to-business group. And if you are trying to find a career, I know a lot of teaching school districts have their own job application sites, but outside of education, specific jobs like that, LinkedIn is predominantly how people get employment and references. For organizing, I would say Facebook. If you do not have a Facebook group, make a Facebook group. It is such an effective way to collect your tools, to collect your members in a place where they can communicate and collaborate with each other. It is one hub for you to send out information and for them to go back and check it, as opposed to sending text, emails, and a million different little things. So Facebook is extremely effective at organizing. Instagram is extremely effective at getting people involved in your events. So once you have events, do that with Instagram. Post pictures of it. Post pictures of the login. Make sure that you actually promote your brand, promote your group, promote yourself to be something that is engaging. If people see that you're actually doing things, if people see your activities, your events, then they're much more likely to want to join. And it's much more personal than just a post can be on Facebook. And Facebook and Instagram can also be linked together. This last one is Calendly. And I will put this in the chat, Calendly. What this does is it scans your calendar app and then it creates a link. So anybody that can click that link, they can then schedule meetings with you on times that you are free and that you have deemed as acceptable business hours. I know in my email signature, I always have my Calendly link. That way, instead of me trying to go back and forth and email with someone, well, what's a good time for you? What about Wednesday? Are you free this week? I'm not free that week. They can click this link and immediately see your availability and then plug themselves in, and Calendly will automatically put it onto your calendar and give you an email and text notification. So extremely effective. And then for information and ideas, Reddit, Pinterest, and YouTube. YouTube is great for videos, how-to videos, inspiration. Pinterest is great for pictures and resources. And Reddit is fantastic for real people's opinions, advice, and community building. So these are my list of 3 apps that everyone should use for the individual areas. So I'm closing out. We do have some GAE accounts that you can follow for our active accounts on Facebook. We are the Georgia Association of Educators. My computer is exploding at the moment. Hopefully it's not interfering with you all. We are the Georgia Association of Educators, and we are GAE Voices on Instagram. And our aspiring educator accounts, we are just GAE Aspiring Educators on everything. I'll leave that up for a second. I got a question. Does Calendly link to your Google or Outlook calendar? I believe that you can select to do one or both because you can link them together through Calendly. So I would highly, highly recommend that, especially Cavius. You know, it's so easy scheduling with members and other individuals because instead of having to suggest times, they just click the link and plug themselves in when it works for them.
And you had one other question of if you would like to promote awareness of an issue that affects many people, which social media would you recommend?
I would say Facebook and Instagram. And the reason for that, Facebook is a good way to promote it amongst people that you personally know, and you can get them to share it. It has that grassroots feel. But Instagram allows you to have access to people that you don't already have access to, people that aren't already in your immediate social circle. So I would pair those, and Facebook and Instagram have a fun feature where if you share to one, if you link your account, it shares it on both. So it's very, very convenient. If you have any kind of awareness campaigns, any kind of organizational events, then I would say Facebook and Instagram are the 2 that you would want to partner with that with. And if anybody has any questions about how they can do that, I can and will be more than happy to do a one-on-one and set that up for you. I know that this was a very brief kind of going over everything, but I am available to help y'all. That is my actual job as a UniServe director. So I am more than happy to get y'all organized, get y'all on social media and having fun. And then of
Tyler,
course, oh, my
I'm
goodness.
sorry.
Yes.
Hi, this is Tama Freeman again.
Hey, Tam.
I am the president of our local association for Lawrence County.
Okay.
And I want to, we don't have Facebook or any of that. And I do want to get us set up. So yes, if you could please set up a time that you can come and help get us started with that, that would be great.
Yeah, and here's what I'm going to do just to kind of self-promote what I said. I'm going to drop my Calendly link in the chat. So if anybody would like to set that up, they just click on that and you can even see how it looks. So even if you don't want to schedule a meeting with me, feel free to check that out. And it does a really, really good job of scheduling your meetings, which can honestly be a very big pain doing virtually.
Skylar, thank you so much. This was like, yes, very cool. So thank you. I know I've learned a lot and I appreciate it. And I appreciate your being here. In the last 60 seconds or so, I want to just share 3 things with you all. We are having a rapid response team kickoff you can see the date there, and it'll be virtual, and I hope you will join us for that. Legislative Chair of GAE-Retired, Linda Wolf-Smith, has planned an excellent agenda that you can also look at when you are on this graphic. And then our retired lunch bunch for next month, always first Wednesdays. GAE-Retired President Lisa Morgan will be our guest, and it'll be her saying and sharing with us and going through and taking questions. And lastly, if you did not get the GAE-Retired in the loop that was sent out yesterday, this is our e-news publication, please contact me. I'll put my information in the chat because you can see we have a lot of things coming up, and I hope you will join us. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for being a GAE/GAE-Retired member, and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, y'all. And Karen, can you hang on for just a minute?
I can
Afterward.
hang.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank you all,
And if anybody has questions, they can shoot them at me.
which is different than shooting you.
Yes, please don't shoot me. Please do not. I've only had to deal with that threat once in my life, and that was enough.
Oh, well, there's a story to tell over
Yeah,
some
yeah.
adult beverage.
Yeah, well, it wasn't, no bullets, just weapons pointed at me. So that was spooky. I was at a statue protest back in my hometown. So
Wow. Ms. Freeman, yes, I will put this video on our YouTube channel and send out information in our communications vehicles about how to access this. So thank you for that.
all right. Well, so just wanted to check. Hopefully that was helpful for you and wasn't just me rambling about. So because I know I had a lot to talk about and I was trying to rush. So
It was one of the most excellent presentations, not that your head should swell or anything, that I have had. It was spot on. And I'm thinking I may ask you to do a repeat for some other GAE retired initiatives, because I think it's spot on for our retired members. It was
Yeah.
just, so thank you. And
no problem. And I figured it was just y'all wanted a brief overview. So I didn't get very specific with anything, but I really don't mind to help set up accounts or do whatever.
I mean, that is just like huge for so many people. And Calendly
Yeah, the Calendly, it's very, very helpful.
came across my radar yesterday, new minister, new way of doing things. And so I'm like, this is phenomenal. I mean, this is like beyond, so thank you. That was good reinforcement for that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny that you say that because it wasn't in my presentation until about 30 minutes before we started, because someone mentioned to me, is like, can we set up a meeting? I was like, just use my Calendly link. And I was like, that is probably something I should tell them about, because I use that. I mean, it is incredibly helpful. It just, because I know before, I mean, I'd spend like 3 days and 10 emails trying to set up a meeting before, because people don't respond quick sometimes, but this really makes it easy.
And if it's like a meeting with 3 or 4 people, I can meet on August 18th at 3 a.m., but not at August. And you're like sorting this out. And, I usually have resorted to doodle poll, but that seems a little.
Yeah, well, and doodle poll takes a while too, because you have to give them like a week to fill it out, and then you have to get on to people for not filling it out.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
So-
Calendly actually has group settings as well, where you can click on there and you can say like individual meeting or group meeting, and then whenever they click group meeting, it creates a separate thing that makes that process a lot easier as well.
Cool. Do you have best practice, like we have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Do you have best practices for, like, should I tweet back to back, scheduling times for Facebook? How do I know that? Like, I've been told 1 Facebook post a day, 2 if you're really, but like don't stack them back to back. How do I
Yeah,
find out?
one a day is good. The best thing that you can do is Facebook has something called Insights, and this is why I wasn't sure how in-depth I needed to be, and I'd be fine to do a follow-up session where it's like, here is just digital organizing, like here is how you do that. Facebook has an Insights app or part to it. It's not an app, it's a plugin, but you use that and it tells you like, this is the time where your Facebook page gets the most attention each day. So then try and prioritize on posting at that time. And then you can also look and see, these are the types of posts that gets the most likes. So trying to emulate that success. And it's really good for seeing, okay, here is like actual data proving what was more successful. And then how can I keep recreating that situation and scenario? So it really varies based on your target audience and varies on what kind of information you're putting out. I know I get a lot of good results by like really monitoring the pages and commenting on everything. If somebody comments to me, I'm giving them a comment, even if it's me being passive aggressive because they're attacking me, like on our Instagram account, I posted the thing with Stacey Abrams and someone's like, I'm switching to Paige. And I commented, well, let me hold the door for you. Like, don't let me stop you. Like just very, very much so establishing your group's beliefs and values through the way that they interact with you, because, you know, and I guess I probably should have said something about that too. Like, and the more I think about it, I just keep thinking, oh, I left so much out. But people don't really interact in person as much anymore. And especially the first interaction tends to be virtual whenever you have like something like GAE, which is a group of individuals. It's not one single thing. So really establishing your group values through the way that you conduct yourself online is a pretty important thing.
Well, I may gather you, we, within our retired structure, we have a place for a PR communications person that has been blank since I've been president. So I end up doing it, but I think there are some people in the offing that I can gather in, and we may just do a GAE retired communications event via Zoom. So we can ask you, because I need help. I can't keep doing.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I got a little nervous. I thought you were gonna ask me to do it. And I was like, oh God, I can't run another social media account. I run 5 of my own personally, and then I run like 4 professional ones. So
I would love if you would do it, but I don't, I know, I mean, I can ask you, but
yeah, no, I can do the training for you. That's no
Right.
problem. I just mean I can't like be the one posting and doing all that. That's too,
and
because it
right,
really
and I
is.
just need
Social
to,
media is
I think
fun.
I had interns before from UGA, and I would feed them content, but they didn't really know the structure of the organization to be
Yeah.
able to do the post. So anyway, on my back burner is I'm a year from now, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing, you know,
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
I
thing.
understand.
So, and
I'd
did
be
you,
happy to help you with that, or help train you, or do best practices or whatever. Not that I'm like some all-knowing guru, but like I know how to use the insights and how to like slowly make the page more effective. I know even with our GAE Instagram page, we went from like 1 or 2 likes to now we're anywhere from 20 to 50. So
that's cool. And if you offered, to me, if you offered this to locals,
mhm.
and let's say 50 locals around the state were running social media for their local, it would be huge. It would change the complexion of GAE.
Yeah, well, and people really don't understand how effective and how important it is. I mean, the vocal minority is no longer a minority in any situation. I mean, there's so many groups that are so weak and so small, and so they should not be doing things, that are punching way above their weight because they have a good social media presence.
Right.
And I didn't get into all of that today because I didn't think that was the purpose of it, but like, I
No.
apologize if that was what it was.
No. You did exactly what I wanted, because most of the attendees aren't running businesses, or they're doing it for personal reasons.
Yeah.
So getting into the weeds, you know, I need the weeds more, but so, you know, I'll reach out separately. Did you feel like you got some good leads going to the various college and universities? Do you think you have some people you can?
Yeah, I mean, if they are willing to get with me on that, then yeah, what I'm gonna do, actually, I'm gonna go through this chat really quick and see who all, because I know that Debbie Simons
Yep.
was somebody, Melissa Williams. Do you have contact information for these people?
Yeah. So Debbie, I'll download the chat in a minute too, when this closes out.
Okay, yeah, if you could do that and then kind of go through, because I'm about to have to hop on to a 1 o'clock thing.
Okay. And there was a last thing that I can't think what it was, and it went out of my head. Sorry. Oh, why don't you create like a post for GAE communications that says, do you attend one of these colleges or universities, and send it out to, do you have a contact? I mean, and ask people, because people want to help.
Yeah, no, they do for sure.
Because I'm-
Yeah, I mean, I could do something like that. I just need to get a list of all the colleges that I need, which is a huge list because there's so many colleges in Georgia. I think there's like 30 that don't have chapters, but
Well, you could probably do it from the standpoint of if you go to a college not on this list, contact, because I'm thinking of doing a graphic for the GAE Retired saying, let's help out the aspiring educator program. So I'll share that with you if that's okay.
well, really, what I would say, I don't even want to, because I'll be honest, like these colleges that I have are very new. So I don't know, they could be great, they could be strong, they could fizzle out and die. So like, I don't even want to limit it to that. I just want to say, if you know somebody at a college or university, just reach out.
Okay. Well, I'll create a graphic in my spare time and send it to you and start including it in the retired stuff.
Okay.
Because we want to help. Have a nice 1 o'clock. I appreciate you. I think I owe you something. So besides the names from the chat, and let me know how I can help. Okay.
Well, I appreciate it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And if you can send me that stuff from the chat, that would be appreciative. Keeping snacks and bourbon in the GAE Retired office would help.
I'll work on at least one of those.
Okay, I hope it's the bourbon ones. No, I'm just kidding.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
Thanks.